after another disappointing year, changes need to be made on the Bengals staff, player, whatever it is, because since making the Super Bowl, they only had one more playoff appearance, which was the championship game in the AFC. After that, they missed playoffs every single year. Joe Burrow has missed time through injuries for the most part as well. And if it's not a Joe Burrow injury problem, it's the defense.
Let's focus in on Joe Burrow first, because the main reason we're making this video is because of that press conference he had last week. And let's just say it sounded like a certain someone that we are very much fans of in a football team in the Indianapolis Colts and Andrew Luck. And it kind of gives you vibes of just this guy is kind of sick of this shit. Just like how Andrew Luck basically said it in his retirement press conference. He was just sick of the injuries. Joe Burrow was frustrated. And we don't know if it was like hinting retirement or hinting that he wants out and all those things. He did make it clear after his game that it wasn't about the Bengals. But overall, this guy's going through it, whether it be just personal life or injuries or whatever the case may be, and just not being able to win. That could be a big part of it. But that press conference got me a little bit, and a lot of people, a little bit concerned about Joe Burrow.
Obviously, mentally, you're going to be like, okay, what the hell do I do? Like, now, granted, I thought he missed a lot more time. When I looked at it, his rookie year, he played 10 games, and he played the 2 full seasons, the years they made the playoffs. 10 games again, 17 last year, which was the more disappointing one. And this year, only 5 up to this point.
But he did have big injuries, though.
Yeah.
At the end, it was like, just because he played 10, it wasn't like, oh, he missed one, came back one.
Yeah,
it's like, it was just like he's out for, obviously, the rookie year being the most nasty one, with, I think, just torn ACL, MCL, and bone damage as well. Though a couple years ago when Jake Browning took over, he had a hand injury where he couldn't even squeeze the football. And then obviously this year, the turf toe, which it may sound like a little injury, but we found out very much that a turf toe is literally one of the most painful things you could possibly have.
Yeah, so like overall, when you look at Joe Burrow, like this year specifically, they're 4-10. Obviously, he missed a lot of time. They had to go bring in Joe Flacco because Jake Browning couldn't get the job done. But like, I want to focus a little bit more on last year as well, because this is where I want to talk. I'll put the injuries to this side. I do like the thing with this team is I don't know how they're run and what the situation is, because there's a lot of things that are wrong behind the scenes in my personal opinion. This year we had the whole Shamar Stewart situation, the Trey Hendrickson contract situation. Last year it was also both T. Higgins and then with Jamar Chase, and they ended up bringing them back on record deals for their respective positions. And T. Higgins obviously a little bit lower, but in terms of wide receiver twos, he's up there, right? Obviously, the only non-question mark was Joe Burrow. They got that one done, which makes sense because he's Joe Burrow. He's that good. Even when he's in the playoffs, he hasn't underperformed in the playoffs as well. He was very good. The other side of things I want to look at is this. What is their development staff like? What's their coaching, assistant coaches and all that like? What's the behind? Obviously, I said the general manager. They don't even have a real general manager in the sense that it's a director of player personnel who plays the general manager role over there. The point I'm trying to make is though, like, it's not like these guys didn't go out and get linemen since the Super Bowl. Like, they went out and got Kappa and drafted a bunch of guys, signed a bunch of guys, eventually got Orlando Brown Jr., who was really good for the Ravens and the Chiefs. But my point is, why is it that like players constantly get injured? Why is the O-line still that bad? Why is there no proper culture instilled in those locker rooms? And is there like scouting just that bad? Because like at the end of the day, like, yeah, you're doing your best to address certain situations. You tried that with the defense last year, but nothing has panned out in that sense, right? It's not like the Colts who kind of ignored the O-lineman position for the most part, or they didn't develop them properly. That's where I'm looking at, because how is Joe Burrow still out there getting hurt? Because Seattle found a way to improve their stuff. Yes, a lot of the injured players did come back, but even the players that were healthy were struggling. This year, their O-line has been a little bit more better. The run game, obviously, we know it's a different story with that. But this Cincinnati team, with the amount of talent they have, cannot be missing the playoffs. 9-8 last year, they were third place. 9-8 the year before, yes, Joe Burrow played 10 games. Jake Browning did a good job. They finished last. You are in a tough division. Don't get me wrong, right? It might have changes. Who knows when it comes to the overall coaching staffs for all 4 teams, even in this case. But just Cincinnati, like, you have arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. You have the best wide receiver too, arguably, in the NFL. So it makes that a good combo. You have solid enough receivers, tight ends. Yes, your running game can be a little bit better. Obviously, Chase Brown hasn't been terrible this year. And you have a top 5 quarterback in the NFL that you cannot be able to keep upright. So the flaws on your team are the O-line, which is not protecting your quarterback, and then your defense. Because when last year, especially Joe Burrow and this offense, similar to the Bills, are dropping like 30-point games, and you're still finding ways to lose.
Here's the thing with the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's the thing with just Joe Burrow's frustrations, and the frustrations go all over the place. I just want to get back to the point where they don't have a GM.
Yeah.
Like literally, that dude's playing. They're playing Madden franchise in real life.
He's been there since like 1990.
Yeah, they're literally playing Madden franchise in real life, right? And we all know how that goes, where you just try to make it to the Super Bowl, and then who cares about the rest of the years? That's how the Bengals were. The Bengals didn't care about any of their years until Joe Burrow came, and then he did his thing, took him to a Super Bowl.
But even though
and then at the end of the day, it was an incredible Super Bowl appearance, 2 playoff appearances, 2 AFC Championship games, 1 Super Bowl. Hell of impressive.
Almost won the
right?
Super Bowl.
And almost
if
won
it
the
wasn't
Super
for
Bowl.
Aaron Donald.
Yeah. This all ties down into, all these frustrations tie down to one thing. Cheap-ass owners. It's just simple as that. Because you can't tell me that you let a guy like Jesse Bates walk in free agency. That just, to me, is inexcusable. Right? Like that guy deserves to get paid however much he gets to paid.
Because he's arguably the best safety in the NFL.
Exactly. You don't let that guy walk. And on top of that, you had this thing with Trey Hendrickson, which is obviously annoying. You had it with Jamar Chase, which obviously ultimately paid, but like at the end of the day, he should have been paid. Like
you could have saved money if you
and
paid
you
him
could have
earlier.
saved money if you just made your mind up earlier. It just simple things like that. Like again, I don't know if it again is a scouting thing or just the owners just being reluctant to pay. Like they kind of took a Jerry Jones approach where they kind of just ran up the price and caved in after.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make sense because now of that you're kind of in cap hell because what you have almost 50% or 50% of your cap tied up to three players basically that are all on the offense.
Yeah.
So your defense is gonna struggle, and on top of that,
And your O-line.
and obviously your O-line is gonna struggle. Here's the thing: it's not like they didn't address the O-line, like the point you brought up. So why does it suck? That probably has to fall on Zach Taylor and his protection schemes and all those things because it's not like they got people like Alex Kappa. They signed Orlando Brown Jr. from the Kansas City Chiefs. So I don't know if it's junior or the second, but my mistake of it as junior, right? And then obviously they did make a couple draft picks there. Defensively with Shamar Stewart, it was just
a saga.
That was just a fiasco. So overall, like, other than the 2-year run they had, this Bengals franchise has just been an absolute disaster. Except for those 2 years, because those are 2 years, and they did not pounce on it. They let people walk, and they blamed other people. Like at the end of the day, Lou Anarumo became the scapegoat of that terrible defense. And overall, somehow, some way, Zach Taylor is still there, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
But it just all these things. Literally, if you're gonna boil it down into one thing, and all these frustrations that Joe Burrow has into one thing, it all comes down to cheap, incapable ownership, basically. Because it's not like their facilities are any good either. So like that could be
those report cards that come out.
They're always last, so that could affect the people just getting better. Because if you have shit facilities, why would the players develop?
It's not like this team hasn't had they haven't had playoff success, but they've had regular season success with guys like Carson Palmer. But obviously later on with Andy Dalton,
Carson Palmer threatened to retire.
AJ Green and all.
No, you don't know that story, by the way?
No.
Carson Palmer threatened to retire because that's how shit the Bengals are run.
Yeah, which is like we know there's a lot of evidence where they are shit run, but somehow they find ways to get in the playoffs, and they thought that was good enough, right? Obviously lost like how many every years in a row in the playoffs before. Obviously Joe Burrow took them to the Super Bowl, led them to the Super Bowl, Jamar Chase and all those guys. But overall, yeah, like at the end of the day, you're in a tough division. The fact that to even get to the Super Bowl is going to be tough because you have your own hard division you're going to be playing against. You have Lamar Jackson in there. We'll figure out what's going to happen with Pittsburgh in the future, but you know that they're always going to be 500. If Cleveland could figure out their offense, they have a really good defense, and there have been years that they were solid enough that you guys did come last place in a 9-8 record, which is, like, again, 9-8 is not bad, but when it comes to, like, getting into the playoffs, nowadays you might need 11 wins to get into the playoffs the way stuff is rolling, right? So like ultimately, yeah. So we addressed like the front office side of things, the ownership. Clearly, there's a lot of like issues there and stuff like that with when it comes to paying guys or whatever the situation might be. But let's go talk about the head coach now and the coaching staff in general. Like you said, Lou Anarumo was scapegoated. He comes to Indy. Yeah, has an up and down year with Indy in certain senses. Like certain moments are really good, clutch moments he has to be a little bit better in my personal opinion. But this was the guy on the defensive side that led this team to the Super Bowl because you had really good players at the time. Jesse Bates, Trey Hendrickson, obviously a little bit younger then compared to now, but still solid now. Another pieces that they just had on the D-line, secondary, and all that, Jermaine Pratt and all these guys there, right? Zach Taylor, again, I've always said this every year. Is this more Zach Taylor, which is my issue with Nick Sirianni for all those years? Is it that the players are making the coach look better? And obviously in football, coaching, and every sport coaching matters, but I feel like in football, it matters a little bit more. This team doesn't have a real proper culture because I've seen clips of Joe Burrow getting hit and the O-line not doing anything really to protect him in terms of like out after what happened, either lifting him up or like pushing someone out on the other side. So it's time for me. I've said Zach Taylor should be in the hot seat. Like the one thing that gives him a pass is because Joe Burrow has been injured. That's
why he's still here. Like that's why he's.
But that being said,
and also I feel like another pass is that they don't have a freaking GM to fire him. that doesn't help his look. He should. I don't think he should have even been the coach before they even got Joe Burrow because right, like he could have been easily fired before all of this stuff, all this success for the Bengals even happened. So look, the reason why he's still in the position is because they're not putting the blame on him because his quarterback got injured basically. Like every except for last year, every year that Joe Burrow was healthy, they were successful. Right?
But here's the thing:
you can't blame him on his rookie year. He missed. You got a season-ending injury. You can't blame him 2 years ago because he had Jake Browning. And honestly, you got to give him credit that year because Jake Browning did really good.
Yeah, they were 9-8. They finished up 9-8.
Exactly.
But here's the thing: this is a franchise like that had Marvin Lewis from 2003 to 2018. I pulled it up right now. This is what their record looked like. They made 7 playoff appearances, obviously from 2011 to 2015 in a row. Even after the 2015 one, 2016 6-9-1, 2017 7-9, and 2018 is when they finally fired him after the year, which was 6-10 year. So these guys are obviously gonna keep a somewhat, like you said, a longer leash for some of these guys because obviously they're cheap. They don't want to fire a guy, and then like when it comes down to it, did Zach Taylor earn his contract after the Super Bowl? Sure, because he led them to the Super Bowl. I cannot say that's a fluke on Zach Taylor's part because he must have done something right. At the end of the day, he must have done something right. There's no denying that. Same thing the next year. But after that, like, great coaches become great coaches when they can face adversity and deal with it. And he hasn't done that in these last 2 years, especially this year so far. Obviously, he's not getting a lot of help from the front office. That's for sure, too. So, like, to answer the question, it is time to move off of Zach Taylor. Now, the question is, will they do it? I don't know. Is this going to be another year where they're going to be like, oh, well, Joe Burrow was injured again? Changes need to happen. Simple as that. And it looks like it's not going to happen in the front office. It looks like, obviously, you're not going to fire yourself as owners. It has to come down to Zach Taylor because if Joe Burrow requests a trade, you're fucked. Simple as that. You're fucked. I don't think he's going to request a trade. If you're asking me, I don't think so, at least in my personal opinion, the way it's rolling, because he still has Jamar Chase there. He knows he has the offensive talent. But again, I would probably give him 1 more year. And if I'm that Bengals staff, front office, I move off of Zach Taylor and get some of these guys that are going to be available come this offseason. Clint Kubiak is another name. If you want a defensive guy to at least help have a better defensive core, you're going to have Chris Shula and Jesse Minter, both the LA guys, for their respective teams that are potentially going to be available. Because we look how good, obviously Seattle already has some solid defensive pieces, but look what Mike McDonald's doing over there. Look what D'Amico Ryans is doing with Houston. These guys are defensive heavy guys.
I mean, another person, if you want to throw in that conversation is, and I think he should be even ahead of Shula and Jesse Minter, is Vance Joseph from Denver.
Yeah, but obviously, like with him, is like he's had a stint in the past, but
I'm just saying, if you're looking at defensive minded, if you're looking at defensive minded head coach, he should be the first one, in my opinion.
Well, I know, like, but the other 2 guys are also like,
yeah, they 100% deserve it too. Yeah,
but overall, to wrap it up, the Bengals talk, because we're going to talk about other coaches in a positive way and a negative way. We'll start off with the negative way for sure. Is that, like, listen, if you want to keep Joe Burrow there healthy and happy, if you want Jamar Chase to be there and not have frustrations on the sideline every time Joe Burrow goes down and stuff, you need to figure out some changes. You need to figure out a culture there. Do I think it's going to happen? Clearly not, because it hasn't happened all these years. What makes me think it's going to change all of a sudden now? They're going to just blame another injury reason why. But overall, if they really, Bengals fans are going to be frustrated, and I don't blame them, and we'll see what happens. But one thing I do want to say is, hypothetical situation, let's have a little bit of fun here before we move on to the next segment here. Where are some teams that he might potentially end up? I'm predicting right now he's not going anywhere next year. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But let's just have a little bit of fun.
Jets, Raiders.
Yeah, they have picks, right? So it helps.
Yeah, Jets could definitely do something.
But the problem with the teams you're naming are like how bad they've been the last couple of years themselves.
Yeah, I mean, if Raiders could be a spot just because there's obviously a couple of weapons there that are really good in Bowers, and hopefully we'll see what Genty can keep doing. Another one I saw was just because I feel like they want to accelerate this. Could we just be the Dolphins?
I saw that, but I'm another one. Arizona.
And Arizona.
Because it looks like they're moving off of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it does.
Whether he gets traded or cut, we don't know.
Look, at the end of the day, like if you're Kansas City, if you're Buffalo, if you're Baltimore, if you're Chargers.
Like, are you talking about teams that have a quarterback?
Yeah, I think everyone else.
I would say Bears still going there. Washington.
You go Bears, you go Washington. Yeah, for sure. Look, there's probably 20 teams that should be calling.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. 20. Like, at the end of the day, because obviously 10 you could say, like, the people that are solidified, and then the people that are more up and coming are, like, rookie guys or second-year guys like Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels, right? And who else? Bo Nix as well. So it's like they don't need to move off. But everyone, like, obviously we're gonna throw Indy in there. Obviously Indy don't have the picks. The Titans could still do it. Why not? Right?
But realistically,
I'll even throw in Trevor Lawrence because I feel like the Jags are not gonna move off him.
I don't think CJ Stroud is gonna be moved off either.
Yeah.
But like, again, at the end of the day, the point is, like, there's only 4 or 5 guys that are ahead of him. Well, there's definitely 3 guys in my opinion that are probably ahead of him, which is Mahomes when he's healthy, by the way. Get well soon. Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Adams, and Micah Parsons. Serious injuries, especially with Micah Parsons and Patrick Mahomes, because they actually legit have torn ACLs. Hopefully, Devontae Adams comes back healthy, because at least his wasn't as serious as theirs. But again, what a shitty weekend overall for those guys. But that's my one point I want to make. This year, the Chiefs missed the playoffs. The Bengals had a shout if they were, obviously, again, if Joe Burrow stayed healthy, but in general, they could have at least been in the conversation of making noise. And we've already talked about in the past with the Bills, Ravens, and all these teams.
They fumbled it, man. They just simply fumbled this season, but overall,
I mean, I would love to see him in Arizona.
Arizona might be the most
because they
fun.
have the weapons and they have still a solid enough defense.
Arizona might
barring what happens with Jonathan Gannon, right?
Arizona actually might be the most fun and most ready situation for Joe Burrow. I would agree with that.
But before we move on, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We are at almost 100 subscribers. We are literally 3 subscribers away from, as of this recording. We would like to hit that before the end of the year. We appreciate the support you guys gave us throughout this NFL season. Almost playoff time, so we're going to be dropping a little bit more content for you guys, so you guys do not want to miss what we got to bring. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and comment down below what you guys think Joe Burrow should be doing next and what the Bengals should be doing next as well. But speaking of Zach Taylor, it got me thinking, because we're at that point of the year where coaches are going to start getting fired. And a lot of them are actually from the AFC. I only had 2 from the NFC. This is going to be a little bit more of a rapid fire question, because we have another segment I want to do at the end of this, which is not, again, going to be a rapid fire one as well. But I'm going to name the team, their coach, and you're going to tell me should they get fired and will they get fired? All right? We're going to stick with the AFC North because I feel like all the teams are going to be in the conversation. And by fired, I mean it could be fired, them quitting, it could be a mutual agreement and all that stuff as well. Like, are they going to be the head coach of this team next season? So we already started with let's start off with the Bengals very quickly. Do you think Zach Taylor will be back, and should he
will be back? He should not be back.
Next up, the Cleveland Browns with Kevin Stefanski.
I think he will be gone, and I think he should be gone because I think he just made a total mess of this Shadur Sanders situation.
I think
all these stuff.
That as well. I feel like he's somewhat scapegoated as well.
Somewhat, but obviously, I feel like a change is needed.
Yeah.
I feel like he will get a job, would it be like an OC or a head coaching job, quick. But I think the way he just handled this quarterback room and his Shadur, I think he just put Shadur Sanders in the most difficult spots he could possibly put in.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
There's also this thing. Do you see the thing where like he had the wrong freaking?
Yeah, I saw
wristband?
that. I heard
Yeah,
about
like
that.
it's
A
inexcusable.
lot of drama. Yeah, I agree with you. I think
Yeah.
I agree with both of you. Both of the ones we said so far, exactly what you said. So I don't need to reiterate too much. Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh. If they miss the playoffs, he should be moved off, whether fired, whatever. Mutually agree, part ways. But will he? If they miss the playoffs, will be a yes. Should he would be a yes. But if he makes the playoffs and at least gets to the championship game, I think it's going to end up being a yes.
So that's just a wait and see, really, realistically, yeah.
But we could see a movement happening.
I could see
there.
something, yeah.
And the last team in that division is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we've discussed this about a couple of weeks ago.
Look, the
as well.
Steelers are in the driver's seat of the AFC North. They got a big win against the Dolphins.
They control their destiny.
They control their destiny. If they make the playoffs, he's not getting fired. And it doesn't make sense for him to get fired, even though the main thing,
Unless he steps on himself.
unless he steps on himself. But the main thing is like, the main people are gonna have an issue with is him not winning a playoff game. I do believe that if he makes the playoffs, he should be safe.
So we're saying put it this way. I believe he should be. They should move off of him.
I'm saying I believe he will be safe, but
no, that's what I'm
obviously
saying.
move,
So
yeah.
like just to put it in simpler terms, we both believe he should be gone. Not necessarily fired, just fresh start there. But will he if he makes the playoffs? I do agree with you. I don't think that will happen anytime soon. Next up, we're going to jump over to the AFC East. I think this is an easy one. The Jets. Should he and will he? I say it's no for both.
No for both.
Because I know you've been very strong about the should part.
It's no for both.
The Miami Dolphins. Should he and will he? Both of the answer is yes. We thought he was going to get
Look. I'll just say this much. You got to give credit to the dude because he should have been gone like
5 weeks into it.
6 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
You got to give credit. I thought he was going to get fired when they're
I think he thought he was going to get fired.
Yeah. But that doesn't change the fact that
it's still a lost year.
It's still a lost year, and he should and will be gone.
You said the one thing. His GM is already gone. I feel like the new GM wants to get his own guy. So for that reason, he will be gone. Should he be gone? I believe yes. He'll be a better OC in the NFL than he is a head coach. Next up, let's go to the South. One of them already has been fired, so we don't need to talk about the Titans there. But the Indianapolis Colts, Shane Steichen. Should he? I believe yes, because of the 7-1 choke. Losing that Indianapolis game, Kansas City game hurts. Obviously, I think will he? I think they're going to use this Daniel Jones injury as an excuse, as a scapegoat of him and Ballard coming back for at least one more year. Although I feel like Harley Gordon might be a little bit more ruthless than Jim Irsay.
Could be a little bit, but I doubt it's going to happen in her first year as well. I do feel like if he is gone, I feel like Ballard's going with him. So because of that, I feel like they will give him.
It's gonna be a clean house situation.
Yeah, they will give him one more year. Do I think he should be gone again if he makes the playoffs? No, I don't think he should.
I think again, he's doing this to himself. He does the good things and he just shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah, he does that a lot. Shane Steichen. Again, he's a great offensive mind, but it just feels like
it might be just a better OC in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what it's leaning towards right now, in my opinion.
All right, the one team I have from the AFC West, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. Will he?
Gone.
Yes.
Just
Should
get him,
he?
get
Gone.
him gone.
You gotta move off ASAP.
Yeah, you gotta move off.
All right, so those are all the AFC.
I don't want to
teams.
disrespect the guy. He's at the end of the day.
He's a legend. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like
legend.
it's just better off he could just retire or go to college and chill or whatever the case might be.
That wasn't
because he was a good college head coach.
That did not work at all. Let's just say that.
NFC. I only have 2 teams here because I don't think
a lot of NFC teams have taken a jump. Panthers,
and there's some teams
Bears.
like a guy like Schottenheimer's not gonna get fired.
Schottenheimer at the end of the day, he did impress me.
Yeah,
I was surprised with Schottenheimer and what.
So I don't think any team in the NFC East is moving on because you already moved off of Dable. No teams in the North definitely. So there's one team in each of the last 2 divisions I do want to talk about. First off, the Atlanta Falcons. Raheem Morris is his 3rd year right now. I'm saying yes, he will get fired, and I'm saying should he be fired? Yes, because it's just been very disappointing. He was supposed to be that guy that saves them. Yes, defensively they've been fine, nothing crazy. But again, the pass rush non-existent. Don't have the talent there. Offensively hasn't worked out. Obviously, the injury to Michael Penix doesn't help, but you drafted the guy, knowing his injury history. You got Kirk Cousins in. What started off strong, looked like it was going to be a legit great move. He fell off a cliff that year, which brought Michael Penix in last year. But the fact that you're failing with Kyle Pitts, but especially Drake London and Bijan Robinson, maybe not hiring the right guy offensively. The defense hasn't been saving them at all. You're in probably the weakest division in the football for the last couple of years, and you cannot win the division at all and not make the playoffs. I don't think they made the playoffs at all. Understand here? I believe it's time they have to move off of him and figure out something new.
I do agree with you, but I want to say this point. I do blame the general manager more. His name was Fantino, I think?
I don't know.
I don't remember his name. But again, the fact that you don't own your first round pick this year is just absolutely abysmal.
The LA Rams might get the quarterback of the future.
Literally,
right
that's been
or whatever else.
I personally blame the GM. I believe it's Torrey Fantino or
Fontenot. Terry Fontenot.
I think he just made terrible decisions. Kirk Cousins' contract not looking good. Michael Penix Jr. pick, again, look, it just shouldn't have been he shouldn't be a first round pick because of the injury history and his age. Like if you're looking at like Tyler Shuck, who's a second round pick, makes much more sense. And obviously you get a lot of credit to Kellen Moore there and what job he has done with him.
Kellen Moore took away 2. I'm disappointed in the Panthers, man. They could have had the driver's seat there and couldn't get it done. Kellen Moore played spoiler 2 weeks in a row.
It feels like at this rate nobody in the NFC South
they're just giving away the division at that point.
It's like nobody wants to win that division.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I feel like if GM gets moved, you got to move the head coach as well. But I just do believe that his own GM just really tried to sabotage him.
But do you think, even GM or not, do you think he gets fired?
Yes, I do. I do believe that. But I just want, I agree with everything you said.
Okay.
I just want to raise that point that
Yeah.
I feel like the GM should get more of the blame.
Todd Bowles will probably be in this conversation next year, but the last team I want to talk about is the Arizona Cardinals because, again, similar situation. Defensively, they've been really good. He has a defensive mind, but he did not hire the right guy to run the scheme because I don't know how you have a team with Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, even James Conner before his injury.
Kyler Murray doesn't play.
Yeah, that too.
First of all, that one is he shouldn't get fired. I'm just gonna say that right now. I don't think he will get fired either.
Okay, I'm thinking like he will get fired, but he probably shouldn't get fired.
Look, that is more of a Kyler Murray problem than a Jonathan Gannon problem.
But
here's the reason why it is. Because with Jacoby Brissett, we saw the best of Marvin Harrison Jr. and we're seeing the best of literally the best tight end in football and Trey McBride, who's been putting up touchdowns and is getting his yards and targets and all that stuff. Why was not that happening with Kyler Murray? Last year and the year before, we had the story where like Trey McBride is doing his thing, but he's not scoring touchdowns. Like how many weeks into it last year where he scored his first touchdown? It was in the double digits, so week 10 or later. I don't know the exact number. To me, this is a Kyler Murray issue than it is a Jonathan Gannon or a head coaching or even a scheme issue. I think it's just more of the quarterback
do you
not getting the ball to his guys. It's just simple as that.
Do you believe we should get a new OC? Because
at
the end of the day, Jacoby Brissett's not the answer. So they either need to draft a guy or need to find another quarterback if it's not Kyler Murray next year.
They did not do good. Did not do a good enough job to develop Kyler Murray properly because he hasn't panned out to what he is supposed to be. But that doesn't mean he's necessarily a bad quarterback. At the end of the day, like he's still
Kyler Murray
in the
might
middle
thrive in Minnesota. For all we know,
he could. He could for sure.
He's gonna be the best quarterback available in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like if it's the way it's looking.
But at the end of the day, he's just a middle of the line quarterback. Nothing too great.
Which is hard for me to say because I love the guy.
Yeah, and overall that goes on him too because it's not like he has the greatest work ethic.
From what we've seen.
From what we've seen and what was reported.
Obviously, we're not behind the scenes, so we don't know.
So we don't know. I mean, this guy could be like, but
it's a little weird.
At the end of the
this year.
I'm just saying this. If you have a meme about being more excited for a new Call of Duty game than the NFL season, chances are there's at some points in your career you haven't done enough to make yourself a better player.
The whole injury situation was kind of weird. Like it was a couple of days, a week, maybe a week-to-week situation. It ended up being IR to now out for the year. I don't know how much of that is just they just want to hold him out and probably trade him and see what ends up happening. But overall, that's the list of teams that I believe have coaches on the hot seat or have question marks at least heading into this offseason. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do want to end off on a positive note. Let's talk about the coach of the year and the assistant of the coach of the years. It doesn't have to be anything in depth, but I believe for this, starting off with the assistant coach, we'll go with the coaches of the year actually. I feel like it's easy as of right now, Mike Vrabel. Number 2, Mike McDaniel. Number 3 for me right now is Sean Payton.
Number 2, it's not Mike McDaniel, it's Mike McDonald.
Sorry, yeah, Mike McDonald.
Because
sorry, Seattle fans.
We literally told the guy to get fired.
Yeah.
So he's definitely not number 2.
Mike McDonald and number 3, Sean Payton. However, Kyle Shanahan deserves a shout because of what he has done with his team, with all those injuries, and if he gets into the playoffs, I believe he could be consideration for top 3 as well. I already said Sean Payton. I'm looking at
McVay.
Dave Canales.
Dave Canales, McVay.
Sean McVay obviously in the conversation. Dave Canales is one I'm looking at, especially if they end up getting the division
Liam
overall.
Cohen as well.
Liam Cohen has a shout too. Yeah. First year head coach.
D'Amico's more of a long shot for me, but yeah, Liam Cohen does have a
But
shout.
I think the one guy who could get into the top 3, probably the most right now, probably will be Kyle Shanahan if he gets into the playoffs.
I feel like
I
feel like it's Mike.
Ben Johnson has obviously outside looking in as well.
I feel like it's Mike Vrabel's to lose.
Does it change if he doesn't win the division? And let's say Seattle wins the division. Then I feel like Mike Macdonald's a favorite.
Yeah, that
because
could
the
be
Thursday
possibly.
night game's gonna be the big game.
Yeah, for sure. I think that
I still think it's Vrabel's to lose.
The fact that it's Vrabel's to lose, but like if you're gonna lose a division, you're gonna lose it with like a 11 win, 12 win team still.
True. Yeah.
So like it's not like you can't
Your
discredit
prediction's looking
that.
right.
Yeah, I mean they already passed my prediction.
I thought you said 12, didn't you?
I think I said 11.
Oh.
They already had 11.
I think I gave 10 and you gave 11.
Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, no, these guys look. It's weird to say, but like there shouldn't be as many openings in my opinion this year compared to last year, because a lot of these guys got it right in their first try. Because we've seen a lot of situations where they had to move on from a head coach at just 1 year. I mean, the Patriots, for example, with Gerard Mayo.
Yeah.
Right. That's a huge one.
We're gonna have that with Pete Carroll this year, most likely.
Yeah. So the Pete Carroll will probably be the only one, and overall, again, there'll probably be like what, 5, 6 maybe head coach openings. Usually we see
out of that list.
Usually we see 8 or 9.
We have a list of like 10 here. So
we see like 8 or 9, and 10 are not even guaranteed, right? Like
because of the 8 or 9, we had a lot of new head coach hires.
And honestly, like almost all of them have worked out.
Yeah.
So that got a lot of credit goes to those guys and what they have done this year.
So do you agree with my top 3 at the moment?
Yeah, no, I have that top 3 as well.
Okay. Assistant coach of the year is gonna be tough. Again, number 1, I'm leading Josh McDaniel because again, you have an MVP. You put that guy in an MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Number 2 and 3, I think it's a toss-up between Vic Fangio. What's his? Vance Joseph, Dennis Allen, Chris Shula, Jesse Minter, or like the couple ones, and Clint Kubiak. But I think the offense for them has stalled out a little bit the last couple of weeks, where I can't put Clint Kubiak in there anymore.
It's not Clint Kubiak. He's not going to get it.
I think number
What's
one.
The Texans DC
I think number
name?
1 has to be Josh.
Who's the Texans DC name? It was Burke, I believe. Something Burke.
Probably. I don't know if he's gonna get the love because they're gonna be like, oh, it's D'Amico Ryans.
Why wouldn't he get the love?
But I'm saying they're gonna be like, it's gonna be D'Amico Ryans still.
This defense wasn't this good last year. So it can't just be D'Amico Ryans.
No, because he's a head coach is what I'm saying, because he's a defensive guy. I know Matt Burke is the one that calls the plays.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm saying I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm saying they're gonna be like, oh yeah, D'Amico's the guy.
If Vance Joseph is in your top 3, I feel like, in my personal, if Vance Joseph is, and he is,
not in my top 3.
If Vance Joseph is in my top 3,
yeah, your top 3, okay.
I am gonna put Matt Burke in my top 3 as well.
Okay, just 100% fair.
Yeah.
But do you have Josh McDaniel number 1?
I'll give it to Josh McDaniel.
What other OCs can you see in there right now? Because I don't know how many OCs are realistically OCs that are calling plays that are for these good teams. Because Clint Kubiak had a conversation until he faltered. Because the Patriots, I already said it. The Bills, no. I'm not putting Joe Brady in there. Obviously, I'm not putting any of them in the AFC North. Liam Cohen's a head coach.
There's no one else. It's just Josh McDaniel. If you're looking at offensive,
like
rest have to be
I'm
defense.
not gonna put Greg Roman, obviously. Like he's had moments.
It's no one else, bro.
Yeah.
There's no one else.
So it's looking like it's gonna be a lot of DCs in the conversation, with Josh McDaniel as probably being the only OC that's gonna be in there as well. So like, do you agree that's Josh McDaniels to lose at the moment, or do you think it's gonna be one of those defensive guys? Because to be fair, it's a great argument of what the Texans and the Broncos have done, because the Broncos have been that good. And defensively is the reason why they've been winning games to the point where...
Well, okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Last year, I fully believed that Vic Fangio should have won, and they gave it to the offensive mind and Ben Johnson.
Okay.
So I feel like in that case, it's Josh McDaniels to lose.
But it wasn't the year before the Cleveland guy got it?
Yeah, no, but he was...
when I thought it was the offensive guy.
Was his Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
He was like by far the best defense.
But
literally.
But that's Houston.
It's not by far. Houston not by far the best defense.
Yeah, but it's still close enough that like they might edge out what New England has done in Josh McDaniel. But for me personally, it's Josh McDaniel. You put a guy in the MVP conversation in the second year.
Yeah,
that's the main reason why, and they're leading the division because of how he's been playing.
That's true. It's Josh McDaniel.
So if it's up to you, it's Josh McDaniel, then it's Vance Joseph and Burke. is how you're putting it.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Burke, Vance Joseph, wherever it is. Yeah, probably.
But yeah, no, okay, we'll go with that. Obviously, both LA guys have a conversation as well, especially Shula from the Rams. I think we'll be in that mix as well. But overall, that pretty much wraps it up for us. Comment down below your guys' coaches of the year, assistant coaches of the year. Which coaches are also going to be fired? What's happening next with the Cincinnati Bengals, especially if you're Bengals fans? As mentioned before, we have 97 subscribers as of this recording. We would love to hit 100 as soon as possible. We appreciate the support we have gained so far this last month of the year. Playoffs are coming soon. You guys do not want to miss that. Hit that subscribe button and the post notification bell. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.